Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back. Today we've got JT in the house. How you doing, JT?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, brother. Good. We got Larry on the hot spot. How you doing, Larry?
What's up?
JT, haven't talked to you for a while, brother. How you been?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah. What's new? What you got going on?
I've been a little busy. So obviously doing the real estate thing by day.
Right. Yeah.
But
Hey, we work together at a real estate agent, right? People don't know that on there, right? We've been together for how long? You been in real estate for now?
a year, 7 months, or
That's
year
right.
and 8 months.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. I think just after I got there is when you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only been there for like 2 years too. So yeah. Yeah.
You were one of the first people I met there.
I think so. Yeah,
cool.
that was in one of the lunches because Marines find Marines.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's
You
just
smell each other.
Yep.
You got blue crayons on you, don't you? I can smell them.
Oh, you had the enchilada MRE, didn't you? Yeah, that's what it is.
That damn omelet MRE. You have that one?
What's that?
The omelet MRE?
I had it in my hand once, and then I threw it at the Marine that gave it to me.
Good choice.
No, it was actually one of the better ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hated the omelet.
So you do enough time in the wire, playing around with MREs, you kind of become a chef out of them. So
Yeah.
One
There's
of
all
the
kinds of craziness we made on
craziest
those.
things I ever learned. I had a captain. His first name was Leaf of all things, and he looked like a Viking. He was a culinary chef. Was his original college degree.
And you joined the Marines?
One of the craziest things. We're sitting in Afghanistan, and I had routed back down south, and that's a whole other story. But I routed down south, and I'm sorry, not Afghanistan. See, this is the problem with concussions from explosions. Australia.
Okay.
I routed back down. So we were doing an operation in the southern part of Australia, like just outside the Arctic Circle, a place called Adelaide, and open up. I got the Thai MRE.
Oh, I never had that one.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Thai beef strips, right?
Oh.
And then it's just in this gravy and mush of vegetables, and it's kind of a lackluster MRE. And if you're not, I spent a couple years overseas in the Asian Isles, and I was like, I'm done with rice. I'm done with, and but I'm like, this sucks. I got this. He goes, oh no, that's one of the best MREs. I looked at him and I said, are you crazy, sir? And
He's
he
like,
goes,
watch
"Oh."
this.
He goes, trust me. So I give it to him, right? He heats it up in his jet boil, pulls it out, puts the beef in there, cuts it up, and then he takes the peanut butter packet out and squeezes it in there.
Yeah, it's peanut butter to it. Yeah.
And then
Really?
he adds the hot sauce in there, and he, of course, freaking culinary nerd, has like spice. He's got like instead of ammo, he's got like spice rag.
So he made an MRE taste good?
He did.
Really?
He did. I was so blown away.
Oh,
Don't get
yeah.
me wrong; it still wasn't my thing, but I was like, "Wow, that is so much better."
Yep. He almost made like a pad thai or something like that.
So, but the what?
I said he almost made like a pad thai or something like that. Like he actually made like a Thai meal.
Yeah.
He says like the peanuts is like that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what made sense after he explained it. He was like, "You should try it with crunchy peanut butter if you ever get a chance." I was
Yeah.
like, "I think I'm good."
Wow. So you just recently got out in the Marine Corps, right?
August. So
Of
I
last
retired
year.
Congratulations.
in August of last year. Thank you.
Awesome, man.
It was a long thought process and decision. I was on my way to master guns, and just all the things that were going on. One of the things I enjoyed about the military my entire career was the apolitical aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just kind of felt like that was losing, regardless of what side of the fence you're on or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just kind of felt I've got to come to work and deal with politics now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. When did you go in?
January 1996.
Oh my God, you were in forever.
I know. This is weird.
How long was that? How long were you in total?
26 years.
Jesus.
So 26 years and 9 months, something like that.
Wow, that's awesome. What did you do in the Marine Corps?
So that was something I was hitting on with him. So my basic MOS was combat engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Back all the way in the 90s, while you were at home watching G.I. Joe.
Yep.
Yep, 100%. Yep.
Cat dog.
Probably Transformers. Yeah.
Rugrats.
I went through the sappers courses. So I went through all that.
What is SAPR? Because SAPR for me is sexual assault prevention response.
Well, sapper these days in the Marine Corps is different than what a sapper was back then.
I'm a
it's-
sapper.
and it's always been different than what was in the Army. So,
Right.
sapper is kind of a generic term in the Army that kind of describes anybody with a combat engineer
Gotcha.
MOS, especially on the demo side. So, in the Marine Corps back in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was an accredited school
Got you.
that trained engineers in their field with reconnaissance.
Got you.
So going in and doing that, we went on to a SOCMU, and then combining some other specialized training and whatnot. They have a basic course, a Sapper Recon Leaders course, those type of things, and it builds. Then you have the opportunity to go to the Army courses. And in 2000, I believe it was 2005 or 6, right before going into Fallujah, they sent me down to Coronado, had me become a ground force operations specialist.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Then they pulled me and had me put together a team, and then we went to the RCT and supported special operations out of Fallujah in 05, 06, 07, and then into Ramadi in 07, 08. Something along those lines. My brain's a little fuzzy with that.
Busy man. You're a busy man.
There's a lot going on.
Sapper is SAPPER, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know what those are. I watched like Surviving the Cut. I think it was on Surviving the Cut and stuff like that.
So they're probably talking about the Army ones in that. The Army, they do have a school and they do specialize in higher level tactics and whatnot. And those are courses that we go to as well. But somewhere in the early 2000s, the Marine Corps, just due to the nature of being a combat engineer, our deployments were 6, 7, sometimes even 8 or 9 months. I think my first deployment was 10 months straight.
Oh wow!
We came back. I was in the United States for less than 3 months, and then I was back out the door.
Really?
So, and that over and over created an attrition rate within our MOS. There were only a few of us that stuck around. And everybody else, when you got a young Marine that comes in, he gets out of boot camp, does 10 days at home, that big feeling you get when you're finally done a little bit of something with your life. They come back, and then in 3.5 years, they do 4 deployments, and that's all they've known in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So in our MOS got torn apart as a result.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And because they weren't staying, everybody else got dwell time. Like if you did a year in country, you got 2 years stateside, mandatory. Yeah, engineers we were exempt from that. So,
really?
Now, don't get me wrong. I was always the guy that as soon as we got back, I'm like, who's going next and can I join?
Yeah.
Oh, you wanted to go. Yeah. You wanted to do Marine Corps stuff.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because combat's way easier than marriage. Call it vacation from the wife and kids.
Well, I don't know. I married a Marine, so she kind of got it at least. You know what I mean? But I could see that. Totally get that.
You guys practice McMap before you go to
That's
bed?
what it was.
So.
Oh, yeah, I got pinned all the time.
I'm sure it wasn't intentional.
Counter the guard, devil.
No, I'm good. It's just, all right. I'll let her win every now and then, right? That's cool, man. So you got American Legion shirt on, man. What's going on there?
Okay, so I don't know if you've had any experience with the American Legion post out here.
No.
So the first impression I got several years ago going and seeing the American Legion posters here, just kind of walked in, and I was a lot younger than I am now, but I definitely just kind of had the feeling of not super welcome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably because I was young and I was around a bunch of much older. You know how Steph and COs are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But looking at their mission and what they do, it kind of wasn't what I was looking for. And got approached by a couple other guys that were like-minded like me and said, hey, thinking about maybe we put a post together. And one of them is actually a junior Marine of mine from way back in the day. And I shouldn't call him a junior Marine because he's by no means a junior Marine anymore.
Yeah, he's probably like a gunny himself.
Well, he's retired.
Oh, okay.
But it started with 3 of us sitting in Tideline Marine, George Papastrap, myself, and Eric Benetu. And we started talking, and we decided that we wanted to change things, right? So when you look at this, most people see, those that even know what the American Legion is are usually older. They look at the American Legion and they go, It's just a bunch of old, pissed off, grumpy gunnies and above
Yeah, I could see that.
bitching
Yeah.
about the world, right? And that's a false perception, but I understand where it comes from. It's like walking into the VFW, right? The common conception of people in the VFW up until recently is just a bunch of Vietnam vets sitting around drinking beer together.
Yeah.
But when you look into the American Legion, they do some great things, and most veterans don't even know how much the American Legion has done for them. The reason you have a VA, the reason you have VA disability, the reason your retirement goes up every year is all because of the American Legion, and those are just the immediate ones that affect everybody.
So they actually have a word in the COLA for everything?
That is their whole point, is they are a lobbying group for veteran benefits and
Oh,
rights.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I think,
They're-
our buddy told us about it. He said about the CBD and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's a little different, but yeah.
So actually, George Papastrat is actually one of the big proponents leading that. They're pushing into that for the CBD rights for medical use. He is actually somebody that benefits from it. But it's really bad when you have to drive 2 hours south to
Yeah.
tap
Yeah.
a dab and come
And
back.
we talked about that. You
So-
said you knew Matthew Reeves, right?
Yep.
He was on
Same
here.
with him.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago. And he was with the group that's up there lobbying for that during that vote. So I'm sure you had some guys up there too for that kind of thing.
So George Papastrat and Matt are also part of my group.
Mm-hmm.
We all kind of cross over. So the American Legion is a kind of a tip of the iceberg. So I kind of laugh because I look at my grandfather, and when he retired, so my grandfather was also a Marine in Korea. He got out, went into communications and broadcasting through college, and ended up being the president of PBS in the
Oh, wow.
Midwest.
Very cool. Yeah.
And most people recognize him when they see him because he was on TV all over the place doing the auctions, the lightning
Oh,
board.
yo,
Yeah.
that's dope.
So that the big guy with the gray hair and the big square
That's
glasses
so
and the
cool.
red nose, that was my grandfather.
That's awesome.
very cool.
I love that
Oh,
show.
yeah.
And
Antique Roadshow, right?
so most of the people that are sitting behind him were people like my aunts and my uncles
Oh, very cool. All right.
on my mother's side of the family.
Yeah.
But we stood this up with some slightly different focuses than the other posts. And that was one of the first battles we had was post 265. I believe it's 265, 539. They were like, oh, well, you're taking away from our posts. There's 50 people.
Are these all
Plus
like local posts in this area kind of
Correct.
thing? Okay, gotcha.
They were like, that's 50 people you could have added to our numbers and did this. And I posted a big, long thing on LinkedIn because they were coming after me. And I said, look, we are not trying to take away from your post. We have different focuses, and sometimes you need a fresh view and a fresh set of minds to take new initiative and to grow an organization.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We have three primary missions. The first one, all posts will always have the mission of take care of veterans and their families.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one of our core missions. But our first mission up front, at least initially in our forefront, is to help and assist transitioning members back into the civilian world
Yeah.
with the right information, because we all know that when you go to TRS, they shotgun blast you with a ton of information. That information is shallow, and when you try to ask the guy, give him the PowerPoint, detailed questions like, I don't know, I'm just contracted to come give the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
not picking on them. When you have that much information that Congress shoves down your throat and says you have to pass, then they have to pass a little bit of information about everything instead of detailed information about everything
Right. Yeah.
that they do have on their plate. So people like me that figured out the system before we even started using it, and others that have been through it, that's our goal, is to help them assist and move out of the Marine Corps and transition back into the military, be successful, help them build a network, help them gain resources, have the right knowledge for how to use SkillBridge, how to use VR and E, how to use the VA, what recovery care coordinators are, Wounded Warrior
So it's moved
reps
so
and all
far.
that.
See, I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't know much about the American Legion. My grandpa, he was a Korean War veteran. He kind of introduced me before I was even in the Marines, right? And just like you said, I thought it was just, honestly, a bunch of older guys just meeting together and having beer and bitching. You know what I mean? And when you're saying all this stuff, I'm going, wow, they do all this? I've been out for almost 20 years. I'm like, man, I could have used these guys,
So when I was younger and growing up in the Midwest, the American Legion was much more prevalent in the area back then than what I see here and what I see there today. So those posts are still there. But if you walk around and you ask the average 20-year-old or even the 4-year Marine that's coming out of the Marine Corps and moving back to Peoria, Illinois, they're like, never heard of them. Or if they have, they're like, yeah, it's kind of like the VFW, right? No.
Yeah.
We're way different. One, I love the VFW, but they only allow people that are veteran of war, veteran of foreign wars, right?
Right.
Which means that if you were in the Civil War, like everybody thinks I am, I wouldn't qualify.
Oh man. It's funny because when he came in, he was making his beard look all nice and everything.
Yeah. Well, he was riding his bike.
He's
So
on the bike, yeah.
he's on the bike. He was doing the big old Viking thing up there. Yeah.
But it's for all veterans with a DD-214 and an honorable discharge.
Mm-hmm.
So like our post commander, actually didn't even do a full 4 years. He was medically discharged. He's also a lot younger, and he's the person that at the end of the day, everybody thought I was going to take the post commander position because I'm the one that took the initiative, start pushing the paperwork, getting everything done, coordinating everything, pushing other people to take action. And this young gentleman comes in. It's actually Alex Storing.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
And he's a young guy, and he's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't feel it's right that I should be here because I didn't do full 4 years. And Alex, that's perfect because it's the message we're trying to send. You don't have to be a 20-year war veteran, grumpy, pissed off, and drinking natural light all night.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, though. All right.
So I said, we want that as our face. We want that to be somebody that the younger generation can identify with. So Alex he's not in his 20s and he's not in his 40s. So he's that perfect bridge. Say, hey, look at me. If I can do it, then you can be part of this as well.
So explain to me what an American Legion post look like, because in my mind, I'm just picturing VFWs. You know what I mean? So kind of paint a picture of what it's like at American Legion post.
So if you go to the other post in Jacksonville, it freaking looks like a National Guard armory.
Okay.
Like it's that nice. Like it's a brand new building. I think they have Marine gunnies there from like the Vietnam era because if you step on their grass, like, oh my grass, don't touch my grass. I'm like, it's North Carolina. It'll grow back as soon as you pour fuel on it and dry it off.
That's it. Yeah.
But no, seriously, it's a beautiful building.
Where is it at in Jacksonville?
Right, you know where Old Bridge Street is, so it's just off of Old Bridge Street. I don't remember the.
It's like on the side with the USO.
So you know where the courthouse building is?
Yeah, right.
You're going to get me in trouble with Post 265. You're like, you don't even know.
Well, I want to know.
Dude, we've got like 30 viewers of our show. You're fine. Yeah.
No, it's so right where the courthouse is, you cut back on one of those roads. You also got the business triangle on the other side.
Yep.
So if you follow that around and in where the other road connects, and then continue back further past that you'll find it. It's right there.
Okay.
It's across from a ball field, basically.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It's like going towards Sturgeon City.
No, it's the other ball field.
Oh, it's the other one. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's downtown Jacksonville. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet.
So that's our primary mission, is to help transitioning members. Our second is to care for veterans and their families.
Yeah.
So right now we actually have a lady. She is the daughter of a Marine Staff Sergeant that was medically retired. Her house burned down.
Oh, wow.
She had just purchased a manufactured home and was having it put onto the lot, and she hadn't put insurance on it, and it got burned down. Now it's suspect, and they, not too much speculation, but somebody might have decided that it was blocking their view or something. So now she lost everything, all her clothes, their PlayStations and computers and TVs, and they don't have a thing to their name now except for the clothes on their back.
Yeah.
So for the last couple of weeks, I put it out there. We're trying to raise clothes and a little bit of money and hygiene stuff. I put her in contact with the Red Cross. She's in touch with the American Legion as well. For consultation, like, some counseling and things like that. She's having a bit of a rough time, and I'm not equipped to, the Marine kind of wants to come out of me and be like, suck it up!
Here's a straw.
No, But I'm just not equipped to deal with that. So put her in touch with the chaplain. Some of the other American Legion members in the area said, well, why don't you have her come look at my storage and she can have the things that are in there, whatever she wants.
Whatever you need to help, yeah.
Realty One put the flyer out as well, offered to take in clothing and hygiene products as well for her.
Are y'all still taking in clothes and stuff?
We are going to do it through at least the 20th of July, so which brings me to my next point. So the Veteran Business Collective started up an event at the Marine Federal Credit Union. And the Veteran Business Collective is a collective of small business owners that are also veterans. They started down in Wilmington. They've grown all the way up here to Jacksonville. And you don't necessarily have to own a business. There's plenty of people that are looking to network and gain either the knowledge to be a small business owner or looking for work. So
it's a good connection resource.
It absolutely is. And it's brought me connections in the last year and 7 months.
Yeah.
But they put that out there, and then they needed sponsors to raise the money to do all the stuff. So Chase is probably still mad at me because I said, give me my membership for the next year, and I'll make you a small shadow box, which is a whole joke between me and the group, because I said if anybody ever asked me to build a shadow box, because I do woodworking as a hobby, I said if anybody asked me for a shadow box, I will freaking stab you. And this is my first day ever there, right? So now when I go in, Chase is like, you got a shadow box? Or he'll say, if you need a shadow box, CJT. So I told him I want my membership, and then I'll lead sponsor this.
That's awesome.
So on behalf of American Legion and Top Realty, so I got my name on there twice.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, great.
I put the money forward for to get that moving and started. So that'll be on the 20th of July. American Legion will have a booth there, and then for Miss Covington, the lady and her kids that lost their home, we're going to have a donation bucket, so to speak, there. So I've already collected some donations on the monetary side. But the idea is it will culminate everything, hopefully on that day with her story, let her meet people, and maybe it'll help grow those coffers a little bit more. So that's but in culmination, that's what our second mission is.
Is this an outdoor event or indoor?
It is. It'll be in the Marine Federal Credit Union on the 20th of July.
The main building, okay. Yeah.
5:30, I believe.
Okay.
Feel free to show up at 3 o'clock and harass people.
The big one on Western?
Yes, the big one.
The main building, yeah.
So that actually ties into the third mission, and that is community outreach and partnership. So we are trying to build relationships with other charities that are like-minded, that align with the American Legion's thought, because we do have to pledge ourselves that we will not involve ourselves with any organization that is against the United States.
Gotcha.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So I had to
turn. So Taliban's out.
Right. When
Yeah.
ISIS called me and said,
Damn.
we have $300,000 for your event, I was like, I'm sorry, like maybe next time.
Yeah, right.
That sucks.
So I would imagine that would be a pretty weird booth.
Yeah, it'd be
at an
awkward.
event.
Yeah. We don't want that one. That'd be bad.
But that's
maybe just bring Jeff Dunham and his Dunham and be like,
Yeah,
I kill you!
But that's awesome. You're doing stuff like that. It's definitely I love doing stuff like that, like donating and stuff. So that's actually something I'll reach out to my unit, where a lot of people are a lot of places right now. But maybe I can reach out to some of the units. If you can send me an email, we'll talk after the podcast and try to spread it around the base a little bit too.
Well, things like that, the community for veterans, in especially this area. So the people watching, we're right next to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, right? And this is a very, very big veteran community out here, right? A lot of us just get on the Marine Corps and stay here,
Yep.
Look at me. Larry is back here again.
Which is why it took me 3 months to get into the VA to get an ID card.
Yeah. So, but this area, that's great for this area. I mean, there's a lot of veteran-owned businesses. There's a lot of veteran community out here. So getting the word out for that kind of event can really benefit a lot of people. That's really cool. Yeah.
So the primary event is focused around veterans and their families and those that support. So we absolutely welcome everybody to come out. I believe this podcast may or may not be out by then.
This is about 2 week delay on this one, a week and a half. So
okay. Yeah. So hopefully we saw you there.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming out.
Maybe able to push it out a little earlier. We'll find
but
out.
the good news is this podcast will definitely be out before the next event for the American Legion.
What's that?
What's that going on?
So this is the first time I'm announcing this.
This is it.
To the public.
All right.
So your
All right.
podcast gets the privilege of being the first one. So
Okay.
Hey,
All right.
yo.
We're finally the first at something, right?
We're the Simpsons today, huh?
That's it.
So, a little over a year ago, I had a client, tried to help him get into a home, couldn't get into a home because basically another realtor, I won't say her name over
Yeah.
at what place she was at, but told him he couldn't get a VA loan at the time and that he would have to have $10,000 to $12,000 in the bank. We know both of those are not true with a VA loan.
No.
Right. Exactly right.
And then he ended up looking at rentals, and he looked at this company and then that company and this. And by the time I met him, he had already been to a dozen other companies and had his credit pulled by almost every
Ouch.
place in the area instead of depleting all the places from one and then moving to the next. So the first thing I going through it, like it literally dropped his score below a 570, and he was in the 620, 640 range on all three of his scores.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I told him the only thing he was going to be able to do on the immediate was get into an apartment. So he went and ended up renting an apartment. But lo and behold, his son-in-law is a talent agent rep for appearances for like famous people.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And he does a lot of the Comic-Cons out in Fayetteville.
Okay.
So apparently somebody passed away, and they asked him to step up and take a coordinator position. But then he had to raise money to do that. So he was looking for people with money to sponsor into the event. So I basically sponsored in. I had another person from the firm sponsor in. We got a free booth. We got to go up there and set up and do whatever we want. We could vend. We could do our real estate stuff, which is what we chose to do. And then the people that were running it were not used to that person not being in it anymore. They wanted him to do more than what his actual job title was. They just assumed he was going to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't know that they assumed it. And so there were a couple things that, right.
Yeah.
But ultimately what happened was I stepped in. I said, hey, let me know if you need anything. I'm happy to help out. And I said, I know I'm probably going to lose all my profit, helping out, but whatever, this is fun.
Sometimes not about profit,
and it's
too.
The contract's for 3 years, right? So I get a booth there and get to continue to go. I get treated like a VIP. But I do that, and I end up driving the Power Rangers to and from the airport, to and from the hotel.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I was like their little PSD.
Oh.
I thought I was going to be in so much trouble with a bunch of Hollywood actors when they saw a gun in my vehicle, and they're like, "Oh, you're like our personal security and our combat driver."
Yep.
And,
don't worry about
Most
it.
experienced guy out there.
they were
right?
phenomenal. I ended up meeting Walter Emmanuel Jones. That was a pretty funny interaction because he got in my car at the airport, and he goes, "So, you a Power Ranger fan?" I go, nope.
He didn't even lie.
And he goes, "Do you know who I am?" I said, "Yes." I said, "But 5 minutes ago I didn't."
Jeez.
I said, "I didn't know who you were 5 minutes before you got in this vehicle. I just knew that you were a Power Ranger, and I was told to pick you up, and I had him and a couple other Power Rangers in my vehicle." And
That's funny.
And I'm telling him, like, listen, you guys show started in America when I was overseas, like doing real ninja shit.
Yeah.
In Okinawa as a boot Marine. But I got to know them, and they did not want to talk about themselves at all.
Yeah,
they wanted to know everything about the Marine Corps. They wanted to know about my Marines, my experiences.
Yeah.
And I said, well, grab a gun and we'll go out here and I'll show you some of my experiences. Just don't flinch too hard. But I got to know the Black Power Ranger, the original Black Power Ranger, the original White Power Ranger.
Here's what it sounds like above your head. Here's what it sounds like next to your head.
And by the end of the weekend, I knew enough to be able to talk to them about some of their experiences. And I did realize that they had it playing everywhere in the Comic-Con, right? Everywhere on screens.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I kind of remember that. And I started to realize that a lot of these scenes were from when the two little girls that I had back in Illinois, that when I was raising them, that they...
that they were watching,
that they were watching. I was like, I remember that,
this.
the food fight in the cafeteria. And I'm like, oh, that's one of the most famous scenes. And then, so it turns out that the owner of it's Knuckle Up Appearances, his son's godfather is Goldar.
Really?
Oh, wait, you talking about the face, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's cool.
The big like
Yeah, big head.
No, it's like a.
You talking about the spaceship looking thing? No.
He's got like giant gold
disc,
crazy things coming off his costume. He's kind of ape-like in its look.
I don't know that.
Oh,
one.
I gotta.
I don't really. I don't have
We're
the-
going back
yeah.
30 years in memory
Yeah.
bank here, man. You know?
26.
Right.
So you're joining the Marine Corps. No, so I didn't grow up around that stuff, and I remember teasing my brothers and be like, Power Rangers, you nerd, and now I'm like, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
So
I taught him how to shoot. Look at that.
So, but anyway, things didn't go so well with the back end of that transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Not between me and Chris, but between Chris and the people that
Gotcha.
run that. It was rough. They weren't paying out very quick. They were leaving people high and dry. They weren't communicating. I'm not going to say they did anything wrong, but there were just kind of things that made us raise our eyebrows and go, what is this? So me and his father-in-law, we were sitting there, and we were like, he really needs to just get away from them because they're going to take advantage of him in the long run. They're not going to take care of him. And Chris was never in the military, but he's got a mind and heart to take care of people.
Yeah.
Even though he's making money from it, and that it everything he does affects his profit margin, he would rather set aside some of his profit to make the fans and or the actors happy.
Yeah, you're saying he's a good person.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had a long talk, and we sat him down and said, we think you should break away. And he goes, well, what do I do? And I said, well, he's like, Wilmington Convention Center maybe, and those things. And we said, yes, Wilmington Convention Center. So initially we're going to look to do it in October. And then we said, hey, first time out, it'd be a good idea if we kind of slowed down and just took our time and did this right and made sure everything was well coordinated. So I can't give you all the details.
Okay.
Because we can't release the information on who's coming, but I can tell you this. So we got the convention center on board. They initially, I can't tell you the name right now, but the name that we used sounded kind of like a Baptist church group. And, and he got hold of it, and he goes, I don't care about it. And he set it off to the side, and then his assistant, like the aide, came and said, are you ever going to look at that? And he goes, I don't care about some church group coming here.
No, jeez.
And she goes, it's blank, right? And he goes, oh my God. He goes, give them everything they want.
Oh, wow. Totally
he goes,
cool.
they're good. They don't need to come do a presentation. Just let them, ask them what they want. We'll give them whatever they want as long as it's within our boundaries, right? And so now we have the whole convention center, the additional rooms. We have access to 3 hotels with discounts for all the people that fly in and attend. We're going to have special events. So here's the difference. Instead of a Comic-Con, which it will not be a Comic-Con, there's not going to be comic book vendors there.
Right.
It is Star Wars themed.
Oh my God, you just hit my heart, man.
You know what you are, JT? You're a fucking tease.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God, I'm going to nerd out on this one. You make sure I'm there.
That's going to be pretty cool.
I'm totally going to nerd out.
So you guys are welcome to come in because we're going to allow the social media side to have a spot where they can do things and record.
Can we do an on-site podcast?
Absolutely. So those are the things that you can get into. So those are the type of things that we're going to assist because it ultimately behooves us to have you guys come in and do those things, right? Because then it gets the word out there what we're doing. So Star Wars themed. Right now, we have 12 actors. Most of them are very high profile and been in Hollywood for decades.
Really? Okay.
They're coming. And here's the great thing. Every single one of them has, out of the kindness of their own heart, has waived their fees. And when you get a picture with them, you pay for that picture, you pay for that autograph.
Yeah.
They're using that money for their choice of charity.
Yo.
So there's more than a dozen charities that are going to be donated.
So this
to.
is Star Wars themed and people we know.
Yo.
This is going to be awesome, man.
Yo.
I'm excited.
I already know one name off the top of my head. I already know one name. I'll
No way.
When we go
No
out.
way.
When we go out of here, I know one name off the top of my head.
Well, if you know one, then you should be able to figure the rest out without me saying
Oh,
anything.
oh,
I can't
okay.
say anything here. Chris will murder me.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
We'll leave that up for
I'm
imagination.
not gonna say anything.
It's funny, right? Chris is a really nice guy, but on game day at Comic-Con, you walk
Boom.
into him, he's like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
Oh
He's
my
all
God.
business.
Yep.
He's like, "Leave me alone. I got to go do this."
Well, he's like,
Yeah.
that's a lot to do. It's like coordinating
Yeah.
all that stuff.
It is. He goes totally into manager mode.
Yep.
And
Wow.
you know, he's like Mike Sinclair when he was still with the Bears.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Just angry.
Oh, angry.
No. So on top of that, instead of this being a Comic-Con, it's going to be a fan and actor based interactive experience. So
Okay.
the idea is to put everything that we do will be to maximize people's time. So when you go to a lot of Comic-Cons, they got these lines that just do this
Yeah.
everywhere for
Yeah.
the
It
big
takes
actors,
forever.
right?
Yeah.
So if you look at some of these, you're like, there were Emmanuel Walter Jones's line. People were there all day and didn't experience anything else.
Yup.
there.
Right. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to have everything's going to be run through an app that you can download. Just like when you go to Disney, it gives you a map of the whole layout.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll give you reminders on your schedule. So when you purchase something in there, like say you purchase a autograph from one of the actors,
You can schedule it right there on the app.
it gives you a ticket number electronically, and then
Oh.
it notifies you when you're within 20 people to go
dude,
get in
that
line.
is so cool. What a great idea,
Yeah.
man.
So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Yo, they're like,
Chris,
you know
that
what?
was my idea.
Yo.
You just remember that.
Hey, Chris, pay this man.
Not the map.
No,
the
but
map and
the-
the reminder was his. But my idea was, well, why don't we do tickets so people
That's
can
such a good
enjoy
idea,
everything
man.
else?
Yeah.
So they pay for it. Right? You don't even have to go to the line. You can
Yeah.
before
Pop-
you even get to the event. You can. I want to go get a ticket from this guy or this girl.
Yeah.
So boom, I've got my ticket. I'm going to get a photograph, and the photographs are not going to be. So typically when you go to Comic-Con, it's their agent, their rep going like
Yeah.
this, like coming out over here and taking a picture of you. We are hiring professional photographers in a green room so that when you buy that photograph,
You can do it with different
you're going to
backgrounds.
walk in, you're going to get a photo. Well, it's all going to be done on white or green or blue background so that you can add backgrounds to it.
That's dope.
But those pictures will be instantly available to you, and you can pay to have backgrounds thrown
that-
in. None of that comes to so. Whatever the photographers charge on top of the basic photo will
Yeah.
be on them. For us, all that's included. So we have and here's a nice thing. So we're probably going to sell out because when those names come out, it's going to go very quick. The vendor booths are going to go very quick. We're going to have 1,000 VIP passes. Those VIP passes will get you in the door all weekend instead of just one day. They're going to...
Is it a 2-day, 3-day event?
It's a 2-day event
Okay.
for attendees, and then for everybody else, it's a 3-day event because
Oh,
you
cool.
have to set up and all that.
Yeah.
But the VIP pass, and I can't disclose prices yet, but
Sure, yeah.
you're going to get one free autograph and one free photo, your choice of whatever actor you want. You're going to get a swag bag. You're going to get some memorabilia. So, again, can't talk about it, but some things that will definitely set us apart. Instead of just getting a ticket to walk in the door, you're going to get a really cool item that's themed appropriatly that you'll get to keep with
I'm
you.
going to get a lightsaber.
It's the
I
Millennium
wish.
Falcon. They're balling over here.
Well, we'll go on Wish.com and just buy
That's
hundreds of lightsabers,
Go on Temu, something like that.
sell them for $80. No, and then you get it's like a fast pass, just like at Disneyland. You front of the line, so there would be a fast pass.
You buy
set
your
of numbers
ticket,
as well.
you're
You
like-
buy your ticket, you go up, you get in line, you get your photo
my
and your
God,
autograph,
dude.
and you're gone.
This is
And that's
awesome.
all day for all of them. And then we're going to have an ultimate package that has a special name that Chris, again, I named. It'll be a little expensive, but it will, in the end, save
Be
you more
worth it.
money than if you did it
Right.
individually.
Right, yeah.
And then you'll have your general admission one-day tickets. And we're looking at 4,000 to 5,000 people each day.
Wow, dude.
But there will be a limited number of the VIP passes and the ultimate fan package. And then there's a very, very, very special 2 sets of tickets that will
Like a
total
golden ticket?
of 4 people.
We got a golden ticket.
These are going to involve bringing people from wherever they're at within the continental United States, bringing them here, doing a very, very special event for them.
Oh, wow.
That will never happen anywhere else or ever has happened anywhere else. Because some of these actors have never done an event. And they're going to do something very special for 2 sets of fans.
Wow.
On
dude.
top of that, every one of the actors has a special event that they're going to do something with. A group of their fans where they get to go after the thing and go do a private thing.
Like a meet and greet. Let's go get some food.
Yeah,
something
we'll say something along those lines.
Okay.
So I'm not. Each of them, it's different.
Yeah.
And the total number is different. But the big thing around this is that the American Legion is the title sponsor of this.
Yo.
So,
Wow, man.
they basically pulled the funds for the thing down there, and then they're going to raffle a boat.
Ooh, whoa, what kind of boat are we talking about? Can you say
So
that?
that depends on how many people put into the raffle, and that's the
Oh,
trick.
okay.
So they're going to start with a John Boy, and once they surpass the John Boy, there's going to be a next marker, and that's going to be a $30,000-$40,000 boat.
Oh,
And
man.
if you pass that one, it's going to go to a $70,000 boat. And then if you pass that one, they're going to go to this massive Aloha 26-foot Patriot Edition pontoon party boat.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, you're about to go to Tampa, man. You might want to buy some of these.
Nope.
These
So here's the great thing.
Yeah.
If you're from Florida, you come in and you win that boat,
Yeah.
you do not have to take that boat. So we can order you the exact same one and have it shipped straight to your house, and it won't cost you another dime.
Oh,
Yo,
my
I'm about to
God.
have a
If you
travel
don't
trailer
like-
and a boat.
If you don't like any of the boats, all right, or let's say you want the John boat, even though it was at the $70,000 mark, then they're going to give you an appropriate. So the $70,000 mark doesn't mean it's a $70,000 boat. It means that because a portion of that's going to go to the American
Sure,
Legion,
right, yeah.
and then a portion of that's going to go to the person that won. But let's say you don't like that $30,000 boat. You'd rather have the John boat and then trick it out, right? So we're going to give you an in-store credit. You get to pick the boat that you want. You get to pick all the goodies you want to put on it. So you go out with a Cybertron level friggin' John boat that drives itself out of the.
Because I've seen some John boats, and you're piquing my fancy right now.
Oh, my God.
But this is going to involve multiple levels. And if you don't like the one that's there, and maybe you want one that's even bigger, maybe you're like, screw that amateur 120K boat. I'm going to get the $200,000 pontoon boat. So I'll take the credit, and then so you get that $80,000 credit.
Yeah.
And then you take that and you purchase your 200, and you just get 80,000 knocked off.
That would be amazing,
And
bro.
again, doesn't matter where you're at in the continental United States. If you're in California, they're going to have that boat special ordered and shipped directly to your house.
So when is this going down, bro?
Yeah.
Yo, you got me. You got me
All right.
all over here hot and bothered.
So as of right now, the date is pretty much set in stone. What I can tell you, early, middle April.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I was concerned it's going to be over the soccer tournament that I'm doing. I was
Nope,
like, oh, no.
we are intentionally putting it in front of spring break
Yeah.
and Jesus Day.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness, dude.
All
This is
right.
going to be awesome.
So I'm gonna be in college. I'm coming up.
Sorry,
You're
Dad,
coming
that's
up.
not blasphemy.
Dude, this is gonna be so cool. I'm stoked, man. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a Star Wars nerd, bro. Like I'm a nerd, right? So me and my daughter both are. We went down to Disney World, waited 6 hours in line, and we got to the Millennium Falcon, right? My daughter goes, "I'm flying this thing." I said, "Babe, I waited 38 years to fly this thing.
Get out of my way.
Get out of my way." Just like, so it's like,
Boom.
you know, right in the face. Like, go over there. Go in the gunner seat, you know?
You can get in the hiding spot first.
Dude, that is so cool. I'm stoked, man. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy excited about this.
Yeah.
That's gonna be cool.
Super cool.
I was really hoping. We had some setbacks with the way things are in the economy right now. I'm the only title sponsor, and we need another one.
Okay.
So if you're out there and you've got 20 to 25K laying around and want to be part of something really big that's never happened in the coastal area of North Carolina, give me a call.
Oh, yeah. That's a great sponsorship opportunity.
Lots of VIP passes for you, your family, and even the people you hate so that we can kick them out for you.
We can get that logo.
We'll wait
all
until
over
they're
the
in
place.
line and then be like, sorry, come with us, and then we'll kick them out for you as a courtesy on your contract.
Oh, my goodness. Dude, that sounds amazing.
That'd be
man.
dope.
I can't wait for this.
Kicking somebody out or...
Well,
all of
both.
it.
But,
All of
hey,
it.
whatever. It's
So-
all good. Get out of my way. You know what I mean?
So, and the great thing is that everything is charity-centric. I think I can tell you, I guess Chris can't do much about it because he's not here to go, shut up.
Right.
The Wounded Warriors were not taken the best care of in October last year in Fayetteville. Some things fell through on them. It had nothing to do with Chris or us. It had to do with the people there. Don't know what happened. I'm not going to,
Speculate.
Yeah.
speculate or talk because I wasn't there. But ultimately, they pulled their funding because they were not given the things that they asked for. And so we told them out of pure courtesy that if you come to our event, we will not charge you anything. We will not hassle you. We will give you everything you want because we want you to be part of this community. We want to show that the American Legion and that Knuckle Up Appearances absolutely support every veteran organization out there, regardless of how they operate. So we want them there. I can't remember her name because I haven't ever met her or talked to her. But if you're out there, we love you. We want you to come. So come put your name on our banner, be part of our group, and let us help you get your goals taken care of for next year.
Man, this sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I'm excited.
I'm mad that it's not a little bit earlier.
Right.
All right. I'm gonna have to come up. From,
So yeah, LJ here. He's going to Tampa Bay. He's getting out of here. He's got the Marine Corps and going with his family, right? But things like this, he might come back up for us.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm gonna
So,
drag the trailer up.
Yeah, drag the trailer. I got a place for you to park it.
And from us, a shout out to the active duty military, and this will be in the banners. We're going to put it on base, 10% for all active duty members.
No, perfect. Yeah.
So they're going to have that. If they have to bring a unit patch, a unit coin. Hell,
oh, cool.
I got one in the truck.
At this point,
Yeah.
all I care about is a really cool drawing, and I'm gonna build a big board. And the idea is that when you come in and you get your 10%, you put your item up on the board, and we're gonna have a massive moto board. And
That's
at the end of the day, everybody that brings one patch with them. So the 10% is aside from the patch.
Mm-hmm.
But if you bring that patch, you get to be part of a mass photo with all these actors.
Oh, cool,
That's
man.
dope.
Oh, I love
That's
what you're
super
doing.
dope.
This is going to be super
So-
cool, man. You got
so-
me crazy excited right now.
Yeah. And we'll have to get back together, and I'll tell you all the
Oh,
all the
man.
details when I can finally
We
talk
gotta
about
do
the details.
We need to get you back when we can. That's
Yeah.
gonna be cool, man. For right now, let's take a quick break. I gotta go use a John right quick. We'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. So JT was peeing in the bathroom with a dog.
What? Well, you were there?
No.
Okay.
He asked if I want to go. No, he just invited the dog
Him
in.
and the dog had an argument, and I guess the dog won,
Yeah.
so she came in.
What? My dog?
Yeah.
The little corgi?
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely made it weird.
She's an
Yeah.
asshole though.
Yeah. She was like, "Hey, what you doing? You got an Oscar Mayer up there, or what we got going?"
I walked in, and I shut the door like this, and I realized she was scampering in. I was like, oh, you want to come in with me, right?
Yeah.
And then as I'm standing there relieving, I look over, and she's all like
She does it. She'll stare at you.
a Disney poor puppy, sad puppy look.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Like you're making this weird.
Yeah, making this weird, dude. Just
I
look
can't
away.
even go now. Okay, this is weird. So JT is a steel trap, just so you guys know. So during break, I'm like, dude, all right, the camera's off, the mics are off. What's going on? He's like, man, I can't tell you. I want to tell you so bad. I'm like, dude, you're killing me right now, man. Freaking steel trap out here.
But then he goes in the bathroom with a dog.
Right? It's-
Like, what is this?
Actually, I told her everything.
What?
That's why I was in there so long.
of course you did. So,
She
all right.
knows everything that's going on in April.
All right, so I got to go interrogate Harley, I guess, huh? The dog. Yeah. All right, Harley, what did he tell you? She's gonna give you big puppy eyes. I can't
Yeah.
tell you, Ben.
I promised her a 12-story bone if she
Is that what
keeps it. Keeps it.
Now, when you say you offered her a 12-story bump,
Come on, man, I'm Irish. All right.
oh, you got potatoes?
If it's 12 stories, it's 6 inches with about a dozen bedtime stories.
Oh
Damn.
man. Oh, so you were saying that you're really into ancient aliens.
I watched the show.
Yeah.
So I'm always an early riser, so I'm always up at 4:35.
How?
I think sleeping in.
I'm about
on-
to get there.
I generally sleep in on Sundays about 5:30.
Not gonna get there.
Oh my God, no.
But I'll get up and I'll turn on, and I'm like, oh, this would be something great that I don't really have to pay too much attention to, you know. And so I'll flip on. I never know the guy's name. He's like an astrophysicist, and his hair's like,
Oh, with the hair guy.
Yeah, hair guy.
Yeah.
you know, and it's always
Aliens.
yeah, aliens. Now, I get a kick out of the show because obviously some of it to me is ridiculous, and then some of it you're like,
That makes sense.
maybe there's a little credibility there.
Did you
know,
see
like-
the one about Bigfoot being an alien?
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
one.
they were like, well, Bigfoot might be an alien.
Really?
So you know what my favorite theory of all time is?
What's
Hmm.
that?
Have you ever seen the movie Mission to Mars?
Oh shoot!
I
So
don't
it starts
think I
off-
have.
They send people to Mars, you know, like they're getting ready to do, Trump and Bezos or whoever's
Yeah,
involved in
yeah.
that, right? So they go to Mars, they set up this little base camp, and then a storm comes in, and it knocks the sand off of this, what appears to be a mountain in the shape of an alien head.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the whole movie revolves around them trying to figure out how to get into this, what it is, all that. And at the very end of the movie, they get into it. And it's just inside this giant dome. Everything is pure white. You can't tell the floor from the walls or anything, but you can see the door behind them. And as they walk in, the door disappears. And then the whole room goes black. And then all of a sudden, there's this giant 3D holographic depiction of the entire universe.
Whoa.
Right? And then they're looking like, is that Mars? And Mars is this beautiful blue planet just like Earth. And it's, you know, revolving, and it's got life on it. And then this asteroid comes in and it slams into the Earth, and it slams into Mars.
Mhm.
And then Mars becomes the red planet that we all know it, right?
Oh, no.
But in the process of that happening, as this global darkness is enveloping Mars, you see this one thing just shoot off, and it slams into Earth and creates a giant explosion and covers the Earth in ash. So the theory is the giant asteroid that destroyed
The dinosaurs.
the dinosaurs was Martians actually escaping Mars, landing on
so
Earth.
I've heard that though.
Yeah.
I've heard the theory about we're actually
Oh.
Martians, just highly evolved from something else.
So
You heard that before?
No,
That's
I don't-
yeah.
heard.
Yeah.
necessarily believe that theory, but the first time I saw that movie, I was like, that right there is the coolest theory
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Because everything else is boring. Oh, we were one-eyed frogs that were asexual, and two of us crawled out of a primordial ooze.
Right,
and,
Well, you know about the
And
stone
had-
ape, though.
and one grew testicles and one grew a vagina, and they had humans. I was like,
You know about the stone ape, though. That one's kind of cool.
The stone ape?
Stoned ape theory.
so I haven't.
Oh, you're you're going back to Rogan times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, if Rogan's involved in the theory, you know it's going to be good.
Yo, it's lit.
No, so half of Ancient Aliens is me half asleep,
All right, yeah.
half catching up on whatever stupid Game of Fire app I'm on.
Oh,
at the
dude,
time.
I watch
And
I
then
watch
the-
that
and
show
the
while I'm doing laundry. You know.
yeah, and the other half is my wife going, "Yeah, you don't believe this stuff, do you?" I'm like,
Mind your business.
"Yes." Show me your tentacles.
Well, wow. She is an alien, huh? Hey, I don't even know how to come back with that one. Right? It's like-
Hentai porn?
Now she sings.
Oh.
Never close my eyes.
right? Anymore.
So,
What's a stoned ape theory?
stone ape theory. Yo, basically, it's pretty simple. It's just
An ape got
some
stoned?
apes ate psilocybin mushrooms.
You're all about the psilocybin, man.
Yo, okay, look.
This
so,
man's all about mushrooms. Dude.
Yo, all right. So
It's because he can't have any.
it's
That's
'cause I can't
exactly
have
right.
any.
Exactly
But
right.
it's like, I'm like, the benefits of what I've heard about like microdosing shrooms or psilocybin mushrooms is like astronomical. Because like he knows me. I'm like if I've like had some drinks
Dude,
too,
he's
like
1,000 miles an hour all the time.
and then like
Yeah.
I have to be able to focus and
I don't need shrooms for that.
well, like, so there's like this thing about like it helps you focus and it helps build your creativity. And so I'm like, I don't like big farm drugs, right? So like any of those opioids and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, it's just straight up opioid. It's legal drug dealing. But there's these other drugs that people have tested, from starting since the 1940s, 1930s for some of them, and they were making progress, and then now they're shut off. I'm like, yo, I want to see what these would do rather than you giving me a pill that's helping depression and my ADHD when it makes my poop hard.
Yeah, I'd rather go natural. You're right. I mean, natural's always the best
then.
way.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got to solve this stuff up. Hold on.
Yeah.
He's got a long, slippery ride home on the bike.
Yo.
Right?
So I keep the gears greased.
Oh
No,
my gosh.
So you're kind of along the lines of that Big Pharma really doesn't cure anything, and that they're possibly even hiding some of the cures.
100%.
Oh, yeah, they absolutely are.
So I don't know how I feel, but I kind of feel like that seems like it'd be true. Like cancer's a multi-billion-dollar industry every year.
$100 billion, yeah.
And you keep having these people, when the guy pops up out of a trailer park, it's like, "Hey, they've got the cure for cancer, and the aliens gave it to me after they probed me." And I'm like, okay, this guy's off his rockers.
Yeah.
But then when you get these guys that are perfectly normal getting up there and they're talking about, I've seen the aliens in Area 51, and you're like, this guy's perfectly
like
normal.
Bob
Like if he wasn't,
yeah.
who mysteriously ended up dead, right?
Was that?
Didn't he
No,
end up?
he's not dead, is he?
Oh,
No. He may or might not have element 115, but people keep raiding his house.
Oh,
the
yeah.
FBI keep raiding his house like every once in a while.
Say
to fuck with him.
if Bob Lazar's dead, we got a problem.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, I
we
know
gotta
that like
kill this podcast.
all these Brown's gas people and keep ending up dead. People
Yeah.
that I can make my car run on 3 ounces of water for a million miles. But yeah, so I definitely could see like there's a lot of things like, and it's part of why I chose to get out 4 years before reaching my 30-year mark is there's just too many things that I question anymore. As to and I think, and I'm not saying it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line, there are parts of our government that have gotten extremely corrupt, and I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
At this point, I'll be extremely disappointed if China comes marching in and takes over. But I'm going to go, how's that purple hair helping your freedom now?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly right.
it's a conversation I have a lot with people, and it's always very morbid. It's like, because I'm just a straight shooter. I just look at things the way I see them, right? And the biggest thing is like everybody's like, I'm going to school for sociology. Like I love sociology, right? But I can also see that, hey, the things that people give a fuck about, as soon as people start dying and it's like an actual war, you're not going to care about that at all. You don't have time.
That's that quote, hard times breed hard men make easy times, and easy times breed
soft men.
Soft men make hard men. Yeah. Kind of goes
whoa, that's not
soft men makes hard. Yeah. Soft men make hard men.
Soft men make hard
I don't know
times.
You make your men hard.
He's been watching the wrong 2.5-minute videos. We're gonna have to get his phone back on track.
As long as we're not looking at my browsing history.
He likes that band You're Pretty. You heard about that one? I'll let you hear the song later, though.
Okay.
It's so stupid.
It's so stupid. So there's this guy. All right, I've been talking about this all day, but he makes I heard one of his songs and it's like a gay song. It's funny, but when I listened to the song, I was like, no, he knows how to make music.
Yeah,
like it's not like some jokester just makes it. I was like, no, it's the way he built that song makes sense and it sounds good. That's why it's so catchy. Find out this guy actually has like a real like his he's called I Am Jake Hill, great music, but then he made the gay song, then the band's called You're Pretty, then he made another one called Dixon Dallas, which is he does country gay songs.
I'm assuming it's a little bit funnier than what and the but.
Oh, it's so much funnier. It'll catch you off guard. It's. He listened to it earlier.
I was like, dude, what the hell are you listening to, man?
Randy's like shaking her head. She's like, this is your friend.
Right? I told my wife, I was like, no, you hired him. I don't know who this guy is.
Well, now I'm here. So.
I'm not taking claim to this.
But yeah, no, it's going back to the other thing, but like fucking those fucking. They're hilarious.
We went from aliens to shrooms to what in the butt.
So we've had some interesting conversations on this podcast, buddy.
But though the thing with with pharmaceuticals, I don't think that pharmaceuticals is bad. All right, I think that people that are in charge of the pharmaceuticals are bad.
Right.
All right. So there are people that when they started, it was not to make a shit ton of money. Right.
The FDA is evil.
Yeah, it's
Pharma is not. No, I
Yeah.
get that. The idea of medicine is meant to heal and
Right.
be holistic.
But you don't make any money if you're healing everything,
Yeah, you can't cure it all because that's your moneymaker.
right?
Yeah, I
Isn't
mean,
that what Tiger Bomb does?
what's
The
that?
Tiger Bomb?
Tiger
I got Tiger
Heals
Bomb in the
everything.
truck.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It's for you
What?
put it on your joints and
It's
stuff.
like Ben Gay without Ben.
Hey, look, I'm right here, man. Why
Yeah,
you got to
just-
do that, man?
Just,
Come on.
it's just gay.
You got
It's super gay. It's great.
Yeah, it's great.
It's ancient Chinese version of Ben Gay.
Yeah, it's like like that icy hot. It's just I don't think it works that well. I've tried it. It makes my skin tingle, but it doesn't.
So I used a
You're
CBD.
putting it in the wrong spots.
Oh, it's supposed to be my butthole.
But
okay,
I
my fault.
why was I thinking the same thing on that? I used a CBD thing for my knees, man. A friend of mine's
How'd
like,
that work?
It worked really well, actually. It was like a cream, it's like a regular, like a joint muscle kind of cream, right?
Mhm.
Put it on my knees, and I was hurting, man, a lot of pain that day. And I put the CBD cream on and kind of sat back, put my feet up like I normally do when I'm hurting. And normally it takes the next day for me to be like, okay, I can start
Okay.
moving again.
Mhm.
Honestly, it took about 6 hours. You know what I mean? But after that point, I'm going, holy crap, this is working. I love the CBD.
Did you hear
stuff.
about it?
What?
So they're trying to get it put into the Marine Corps or the military, where military men and women can use CBD.
Well, CBD is good because if you do the right stuff without THC, you're fine.
Yeah.
You can take the CBD out and have
Something
just the
like
medical parts of it.
Something 10. I'm not really well versed in the weed stuff or marijuana in general because just being around it makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
Well, yeah, and it depends on how you're doing it too. So I mean, CBD is the healing aspect that's in
It's just-
marijuana.
yeah.
You know what
I
I mean?
like it in pot pie.
Yeah.
pot
That's
pie.
what you like. All right.
But like
We can do a pot pie.
even just
We can make that
even
happen.
somebody else's smoke, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That shit
inhale
smells
it.
bad.
Well, I'm the same
I
way.
just have a bad reaction to it. I never feel good.
What about edible? Have you done an edible?
No.
Uh-huh.
Sure
No,
have it.
See, I can do an edible because I don't like smoking either. But the edible to me is so much better.
I'm not opposed to it, but it boils down to until it's actually legal, I'm just not even going to play with that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I'm also somebody that I've,
You mean
I've
federally
lifted
legal.
most of my life. This is probably the worst thing I put in my body anymore, and we all know that natural life's just carbonated water with a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm sipping a
yeah, right.
bourbon here too, so it's whatever, right?
Now Pabst, that's a whole different story. Pabst heals it cures everything also. It's basically a carbonated version of Tiger Bomb.
One day I was fully clothed, perhaps naked, like crazy.
Perhaps make his
No.
clothes fall off. Is that what you're saying?
So Tiger Bomb. So I was a licensed paramedic. So when I left active duty and was going to the reserves to go to college, I picked up my paramedic licensing, and I was allowed to buy BioFreeze, which at the time could only be bought with a medical license. You had to
Really?
be a nurse.
Can't you get that at Walmart now?
You can now.
Yeah.
But it's also a much more mild version. I will have a story that I will tell you about BioFreeze offline.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to embarrass anybody on this. If it was a buddy of mine, it'd be a different story. But I take that stuff, that and Tiger Balm. Like, got a little headache, put some on my temple. I got a little bit of stuffy nose. You put a little bit, just a small amount here. Like, to me, it's like a wonder drug.
Really?
As far as like all the little things it'll take care of.
So I get migraines a lot. Can I try that?
But I'll tell you, maybe that's what aliens are made of. It's Tiger Balm.
Tiger Bomb.
Tiger Balm and CBD. That's why we can't find them, because they land in trailer parks and they get eaten.
Well, we've talked about flat Earth here. We've talked about
in
Oh,
3
my
minutes.
quite a bit.
Oh no, we didn't talk about flat Earth.
Well,
don't bring it
I'm
up.
talking about in general.
I want to know the story about you going to Florida.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
Because I know we talked about that before, but like we were going to talk about that and we got sidetracked on something else. So.
Yeah, so basically, I've been in for a while. I kind of got out for, if you look at my fitness report,
Mhm.
I got out for 8 days, and then I went to SMCR. So I was SMCR for a year and a half.
So he's an active duty veteran,
Yeah, and now I'm AR.
right?
Well, a veteran's a veteran.
Veteran's a veteran,
But that's funny.
If you look at my license, it says veteran on it.
It's funny.
So
Does
but
it
now-
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
my
funny.
license says veteran. So I'm going back down to Florida. I got some family down there, north of Tampa. Gonna go hang out. They got a farm. Last time I was like partying when I did it. This time I'm just gonna hang out and just live like a more chilled life. Do some DJing and just kind of
More chill life as DJ.
oh, just it's
Dude,
just,
DJing's fun, man. It's a
I
good
I know,
side
but
gig.
it's not more chill. Is
oh,
it?
dude, no, that's for me. That's like
Yeah.
it gives me my little bit because I'm like an introvert, but I'm outgoing, right? So I can go out and I can talk and stuff like that. But I like to be at my house with my
Yeah.
dog.
You're one of those. You're a product of your environment.
Right.
You prefer the silence and being by yourself. But if you're put into, I don't know, 3 goofy Marines sitting in front of a camera,
You know?
then you're all about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just who I.
So
Well, me and him
you're
are-
going to go to school though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to school for sociology, and then after that, try to.
Going to study aliens.
No, man, like,
Okay.
dude, people are aliens. All right, we are aliens, man. It's just because we have like it's so interesting, how people think. Like I've always had this thing where I would look around because I've always been kind of an odd man. I have good friends, but I'm not a big, that friend group type of person. I've never been that, and when I see people and watch how they interact with each other, it's always weird to me because I'm like, they know he's a piece of shit, but then they're hanging out with him. Like, what does
Right.
that make sense?
Yeah.
But then it's like where they're getting something out of it.
The younger generation does not have the cojones to tell people the way it is anymore. And I'm just, like,
You're
I
not
didn't think
wrong.
my generation was like
Yeah.
that either.
Mhm.
And I'm a Gen Xer.
Mhm.
And you would hear the old people talking. They'd just come right out and be like, oh, you're a goddamn piece of shit. Get off my lawn, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm like, I'm 3, motherfucker.
Damn.
And
3.
motherfucker. But
You can cuss at me.
when you look at Gen Xers, they're just kind of blunt. But you look at millennials and zennials and xenials, and I don't know what
There's millennials and
They're a
Gen-
lot
I'm
more
millennial.
passive.
So
Yeah.
right, but they're passive aggressive. What they do things, the way they will come out. They won't just, in most cases, they're not gonna be like, "You're a piece of garbage." Get the, they'd be like, "Oh, I don't really feel like hanging out." They do that the
Yeah.
girlfriend breakup thing.
Well, so that's why I'm cool. Like my friends, like he knows how I am now. Like
Yeah.
I'll say it. It might take me a little bit, but I'm gonna say it. And I'm like, this is the way I feel. It might take some little alcohol, but I'm gonna say what I have to feel.
Oh, God.
But that's like
That
that's-
man on alcohol gets so normally if we're drinking we kind of get relaxed and shit, sit back, right? This man turns into the Energizer Bunny, dude.
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's drinking, he's like off the
Let's
walls, doing
go.
everything.
That's how I ended up
Yeah.
with my first 6 kids.
Yeah,
so that was actually one of my things. So it's a social lubricant is what alcohol is, right? But I didn't even know that I didn't like clubbing as a 21, 22, 23-year-old. I didn't know it because I would go and I would get shit house.
Oh, yeah.
And I would be out in Gaslamp just fucking whoa. And I didn't realize it till like later. I was like, wait, like every time I leave this place, I'm always just like, ugh. I was chill in the barracks, have some beers, best time ever.
Yep. Well, barracks party is a little different too, though.
Yeah, we used to have.
We can have a lot of fun in
rages.
barracks.
Yeah, you got to meet when you meet Petey. Petey is he finally he got out. He's doing what I'm doing now, so he got out. He came back as an officer. This is the most accident-prone motherfucker I've ever met in my life.
Oh, you haven't met my wife?
Oh, has she broken her neck?
No, I did.
Petey
Whoa,
broke his neck.
how'd you break your neck?
What's going on?
So in '99, we were on yet another Mew, and we were. That was actually
Wait,
when
did you say
he's
69?
99.
My bad.
That was 1899.
1899.
Yeah.
No, we were.
He actually
Summers-
is the Grand Old Man of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny when you're sitting at a ball and everybody's like, "What's that medal for? What's that ribbon for?"
Yeah.
I'm like, none of your goddamn business. Two striper.
This is when we storm Rome.
This is the Caesar ribbon right here, actually. Yeah.
That's the overseas on a wooden ship ribbon.
That's it. Yeah. Row.
Believe it or not, I was on a wooden ship.
No shit.
Yeah, for a couple hours when I missed my my libo port in was it Singapore? I don't remember. Our taxi cab driver took us to the wrong
Boat.
side of the bay, and then we ended up on the USS Benefield, and it's a mine ship. And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, they're wooden. And it
Really?
makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah.
Having a giant metal ship around sea mines that are magnetic.
Oh.
Well, you know how they what they do to ships to make them not magnetic, right?
Make them out of non-ferrous materials.
No, there's a
like wood.
There's a whole thing that they, there was that conspiracy theory about that ship that like disappeared. And reappeared.
And people fuse to the ship.
Yeah,
what'd
yeah.
they say? Yeah.
So there's a thing where they actually like I'm gonna fuck this up, but they basically do some magnetization shit with it, and then it makes it where
they reverse the polarity of the
yeah,
metals.
basically.
It's called degaussing.
degauze. Yeah,
Oh,
You're welcome.
you know this.
yeah. He's just like, let me see how fucking stupid it looks.
You should just let him go.
Yeah, it's just- yeah. Yeah,
And then they take
fucking
copper wire and they
fucking-
like string it around another.
Tesla has something to do with it.
Or you should just let him go and be like, I have no idea what you're talking
yeah,
about.
no. Fucking idiot.
I've actually got a little thing in my tool chest that helps to magnetize or demagnetize tools.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So that when you're working
yeah.
on something where you're like, shit, if I drop this bolt down in this engine, this is
Oh,
gonna
It's
suck.
gone forever.
Oh, you have no idea.
So
Like fucking working on the Osprey, you'll see it too. It'll be on flight ready, and you're working on it, and you hear ding, 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 and it stops, and you're like,
You don't hear the thud on the ground.
no
Yep.
thud,
Ah.
and you're just like, oh
No.
man. So now you got the borescope, and you know when you usually drop something, right? 15:45, 3:45
Exactly
p.m.
right.
And
yeah.
it's like, no.
when you're going right there, Sarge, just let me get this done, and I'll be right down. And you're like clink, and you're like, gonna be another 15.
And,
Oh,
and if it's
man.
not a bolt, it's always the 10 mil socket every
You know
single
what's,
time.
No washers for us.
So I came up in the Marine Corps with the term always leave a place better than
Than
you
you
found
found it.
than you received it, right?
Yep.
And so like the easiest thing in the world to me was police call.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I personally think I made enemies of many young Marines with police call alone, because we'd go out to like a gun range, we'd go out to a demo range, we'd get done, and I'm like, okay,
You're one of
everybody
those.
online. And I would, like a feral Nazi, just line all the junior Marines up, like, I want every corporal, every 4 Marines, boom, 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 right? And I'm like, sergeants, every 4 corporals.
Oh, Jesus. Wow.
Yeah.
And then I would tell them,
down.
and I would tell them, I want staff units back here, and you pick up anything they leave behind. If you get a whole handful, we're re-going the other direction.
Oh,
Yo.
jeez.
And we would walk down, and it would never fail. I would get to the end, and I'd have a hunk of brass.
no.
And I go, what the fuck is... I go, how do you get 3 layers of responsibility back to the gunny and have this crap, or even as a sergeant, right? And I'm like, okay, we want to play games. We want to
again.
talk instead of look at the ground. And I go, whoa, go find it.
No.
And the officers look at me and be like, what the hell did you do that? That was unnecessary. I'm like, sir, there's a principle.
Yeah.
They go, gunny shouldn't have to pick anything up.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's like when I was a mechanic when I was in the Marine Corps, right? Diesel mechanic. And I remember we're sitting there around 1400 or 1600, and we're getting ready to clean up the shop or sweeping, mopping, things like that. And if there's a mop that was left out, all of a sudden Gunny grabs the mop or the broom and he starts sweeping or mopping.
Take it
And
home.
we're like hauling ass over. Hey, Gunny, I got it, man. I got you, Gunny. I got no. I got this. Right. Gunny, you're good, brother. I got you, man.
Yeah.
You got to take that.
You know, like, oh man, I had this one
Because
fucking
you know you're about
corporal.
to get lit up.
No, this one fucking corporal. Oh man. So what happened was, all right, so we have like generators and stuff we got to push out to the aircraft. Like, but you can use a tug, right? Use these things that's used to pull them, but you can push it. All right, we're not pussies here. All right,
Are these big generators?
they're,
Like
they're
huge?
not big. They're on wheels. It takes 5 people.
Playing a tugs.
Yeah, tugs. Yeah. So, what happens is, one of the kids, he's like, yeah, you know, the tug's broken, so we're not gonna take the stuff out there. And I was like, we have a maintenance control, and their whole job is to control maintenance. So I'm like, oh, then he's running a desk, so he knows what he's talking about, so we're good. Well, then we go into maintenance control. He goes into maintenance control, so I follow him. Like, wait, let's see what's going on, and find out that no, maintenance control is like they want that shit out there, and it's super easy. You just push it out there, and the corporal starts getting a little flippant, and he's just like, well, if somebody breaks a leg, and I'm like, he like leaves. I was like, hey, get out, and so he like got out, and then like, I'm like getting ready to just be like, hey, I'm gonna talk to him. But then one of my friends, he's a mass sergeant now, gets up. He was a gunny. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. Hey, Flightline, get the fuck out of the shop. Maintenance control, we got it. And so
Oh,
maintenance
no.
control gets, I'm like, no, Gunny. He's like, no, fuck that, Johnson. Get the fuck out. I fucking got it. So then I'm fucking pissed off. Fucking go back and yell at that dude, break my cranial or whatever. Like, I'm not a yeller, but I'm like, you mother stupid fucking bitch, like whatever. And then like you see fucking Gunny out there fucking pushing this shit over to the aircraft. And then for, about 6 months, there was a meme. If you need GSE push, call maintenance control.
Oh, no. Everyone got their ass chewed in that one.
Yeah, no, I yelled loud enough that, and I don't yell, that they just like,
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing. While I was extremely hard on the Marines with organization and cleanliness and doing the things that are expected of you, I always told them that my philosophy was expect great things of your men so that they come to expect great things of themselves. And in turn, when their leaders come to expect great things of their men.
Yeah.
I know that's not PC these days because you have to add in the other 12 genders and stuff, but
Well, yeah.
the purpose is that if you expect somebody to fill the boots that they're already in, that's exactly what they're going to do. But if you always expect more out of them, they're going to continue to excel because they know that people want to see them succeed. But I was also, yes, I was hard on them. I would do things like make them re-police call the garbage I picked up. I would chuck it 70 yards back into the open space and then make them go redo it. And it's funny, they would always come out with more than I even found.
yeah.
And that was the point. And I always told the lieutenant, like, there's a reason for doing this because it teaches them to pay attention to what they're doing, and if they do it right the first time, there should be so little. Because the rule was as long as I didn't get more than a handful. When I'm like doing this, then it's time to But on the flip side, I was always a sergeant, Staff Sergeant Gunny. We'd get through, and I always had a plan of the day, plan of the week, plan of the month, plan of the quarter. And it was laid out, and every week I reiterated, this is what needs to happen this week. This is what needs to happen next week. This needs to happen by the end of the month, this by the end of the quarter, so on and so forth, right? And I never stood over them. And when you get a platoon, and you're like, so where are we at? And we're Friday afternoon, right? 1300. And they're like, oh, well, what's going on with this? Oh, we haven't done that yet. We were going to do that next week. Is that what I fucking told you?
Yeah,
huh?
no, that's
so what I told
week.
you, bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, next thing, oh, we didn't get that done either. This didn't get done. That didn't get done. Okay, well, you let me know when all that's done, and then we'll release the Marines.
Yep.
And they would sit around for like 2 hours and bitch. And I'm like, we are not fucking leaving. Yep. And the colonel would call down.
Done and
colonel would be like, I
home.
thought I'd released your Marines. And I'm like, well, sir, they've got missions that they have not accomplished. Well, I told you to release them. I'm like, sir, they'll be released. Hopefully before midnight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they would finally get it done. And then, and things like CRMs that we know have to be done, PMEs on vehicles.
Yeah.
So after the first couple weeks of doing that, where they're like, man, Sergeant's not kidding. He doesn't give a fuck who calls down here. He's going to make us stay.
Yep.
And I did. I took a lot of ass chewings for doing that because it superseded the commander's intent to release people.
But they fucked themselves.
And I told them.
But that's old core, new core, though. You know what I mean?
I do that.
Do you? That still goes on now?
You can't keep them a certain long.
Yeah,
I don't
see,
keep people
that's
too
the
late.
If you've got the balls, you can do it. But if you keep them, right? Or say, fine, nobody's drinking tonight because we're going to be here at 6 a.m. tomorrow to finish this up. Which I've done that as well, mostly with the students. Take away.
We do Saturdays.
You take away, so at the schoolhouse, because I've been an instructor in multiple places, you take away that one precious weekend day of theirs.
Oh, yeah.
The Saturday.
Yeah.
It screws their whole weekend, screws all their plans, and that's actually worse than keeping them Friday.
Yeah. That Saturday sucks.
But see, at the end of the day, they would learn I wasn't playing around.
Didn't you go into work on a Saturday not too long ago?
And I'm working a drill. Fucking. I'm in a reserve squadron.
Yeah.
So it's.
But
he's like, God
but
damn
but at the end of the day, I told them, I said, when you get the week done, you have two. I don't care if you get it done on Wednesday afternoon. You have two choices. You can report in and leave Thursday and Friday, or you can get more shit done so that you have more time on the back end. The responsible thing is do a little bit more, still take an early Friday.
Yep.
And that's what would happen.
We were talking about very some of this
as
earlier.
they learned how the Marine Corps operates, and that if you stay on top of things and you always get a little bit further ahead than you have to go, my Marines almost every Friday were gone.
Yep.
I'd be like, it's 11 o'clock. Go to chow.
Don't
don't
come
drink at 1300. I don't want to see your face back here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they would take off, and
Yeah.
then they would call for a battalion formation.
Yeah.
So, and it was real easy back in the day before cell phones existed, right? Because they'd be like, "Where are your Marines?" I'm like, I released some Sergeant Major. Who the fuck are you? I'm Sergeant Thrain. I know who you are. Why are your Marines gone? Like, because they got their weekly mission done, and they've got part of next week done, and part of the month and the quarter done already. And they would look at me and be like, "Oh, so this is one of those things where you're taking care of your Marines." I'm like, "We'll call it that."
Yeah.
And but I was always big. If we weren't in the field and your Marine has to go, I don't know, to the bank or the DMV, or quit screwing with your damn Marine.
Yeah.
Let him go to that. He doesn't need to be in the hip pocket class he's had 20 freaking times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Let him go take care of personal shit. That way, when we're in the field and they go, "I need to go to the bank," no, you don't, because you've had every opportunity
Yeah.
during the week. Obviously, there's the people that want to abuse it, and that's that's a corporal's job or a sergeant's job to know when to cut them off and say, "No, you're not leaving today."
Well,
Yeah.
see, I think that's one thing with the air wing. So the ground side is different for me, but like we have so much shit going on all the time where it's like, hey, always have like, hey, you got some shit coming up? Let us know that you have shit coming up,
Mhm.
and then we're gonna send your ass to do it because, like you said, hey, when it's coming up
On
time
the
where we
mission.
got to go do something, we don't want to hear shit.
But it's amazing, though, because when you treat them like that, you let them go take care of personal things when they need to take care of them right then and there so they don't become bigger problems. That's number one. Number two, when you tell them, you will always do your job first. But if you do your job fast and efficiently and right the first time, you will have more time off in the long run.
Yeah.
And
Dude, I'm telling you right now, it fucking eats me the fuck up. But I don't know what it is about Marines that came in about 2018 and after, but it's really hard for a lot of them. I've met some great sergeants as 2018 guys, but some of them I'm like, you guys haven't understood yet that, like, hey, when I say like let's get this knocked out, let's get it knocked out and we can fucking go home. I don't want to sit here, but
Yeah.
and then I'll just
I
sit there and
will.
I'll be quiet.
I will.
Yeah, I'll sit there. And
I
be
used to
quiet.
mess with them like, I don't like my wife anyway, so I'm happy to sit here all night. I've got beer in the
Well,
fridge.
it took a while. Like I was in an 03 to 07, right? So it's like, this is the game. Once you figure out the game, play the game and go the hell home. That's
Yeah.
really all it was. There's a couple times where we're in formation on Friday. 16:30 comes around. We're in formation and we're doing our thing. We're about to get out of there. And again, I was a diesel mechanic, right? And we're in formation, and then Sergeant goes, "Hey guys, we need 4 volunteers." And you all know that we need
Yeah.
4 volunteers. Like,
I always
shit.
volunteer.
Hell no, I don't volunteer. So nobody volunteered, right? So I was one of the better engine changers for Humvees at the time, right? And he goes, "All right, Horak and I think it was Pruden, you guys are staying late. We got 3 O2 priority trucks that are going on a boat tomorrow. We need engines on them." Shit, right? So we're there till about midnight. And the funny thing about it is, when you work with somebody so much, you don't have to communicate with them.
Yeah,
you know what I
just
mean?
doing it.
It's just rolling, right? So we throw an engine in, we get another truck. Throw an engine, get another truck. Throw an engine, get another truck. By the time the 3rd truck, there was 0 communication. But I can be under a truck, you tightening down a belt housing bolt, put my hand up, and there's a wrench. Like we had it, right? No communication in the last like 6-7 hours. And next thing I know, he fires that last truck up, and he goes, "All right, this bitch mobile. Let's go home." And that was all it was. All night long. Got them all going. But it's one of those things that you just got to play the game. Like,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Now, see, most of the time, if somebody volunteered like outright, and I don't mean the over-enthusiastic brown noser, but like you call for volunteers and like, you get that one corporal's like, "My fire team will do it." Hey,
Oh,
good on
fuck
you. Those guys are pissed, right? But that corporal understands the point, especially when they've been around you long enough to know that behind that means that his guys are about to get screwed a little bit, but in the long run, because they would get done with this stuff, and I'm like, great. I already talked to the captain. See you Wednesday.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
Well, you hooked them up. That's cool. That's
We
different.
need you to
though.
call Monday, and we need you to call Tuesday.
But we didn't have guys like that. Not
See,
everybody was like
no,
that
but
too.
see,
you
like,
know?
like even like that's one thing that's kind of cool about where I've worked at for the last little bit is I can do stuff like that. Like I was talking to one of my bosses today, and I'm like, "Hey, sir, this and this and this." He's like, "I don't give a fuck when you leave. Make sure your work's done." And like I've always had that same mentality. So
Yeah.
like when I was down working in maintenance, it was always just like, "Hey, do we have anything going on? This guy and this guy, they always volunteer for stuff. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Hey, Gunny, I'm sending these guys
Yeah.
home. There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
There's no reason for them to be here. And it was like, and they were like, oh fuck yeah, you know, it gives them that like, oh well, let me volunteer a little bit more, let me make sure I get my calls, and then I'll get the fuck out of here sometimes.
Yeah.
Now, when I run construction facility, that had to be open, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time, because one of my biggest arguments is you let Marines go early, and they owe the Marine Corps 8 hours a day. I'll agree with you, Sergeant Major, when you can show me that in the contract. There's nowhere in it. It says you're a Marine 24 hours a day. We're giving them time off. Why does it matter? You know, we already know you're going to screw them. As soon as you deploy them, they're going to work 24/7.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're going to get 3 hours of sleep for the next 7 months. But then they come back, and you still expect them to show up here every day and not be compensated for all the overtime they had in country, where they were likely, well, you're actually less likely to die in country than you are in California road.
Yeah. You're actually right about that.
Here's the deer that'll get you. There's the Taliban. And that was the thing. Like, you talk to most of the junior Marines I had, and they'll tell you they fucking hated me because I was an asshole. But at the end of the day, I always took care of them. Mm-hmm. They knew that they were always going to be taken care of on a personal level. You talk to the leadership that knew me, that's what they'll tell you, is that I took care of my Marines all the time.
Well, and there's good people and there's bad people out there, like all of them. Like a friend of ours, Mark Arrington, right? He's a good dude, man. Real good guy. You know Mark, right? Yeah. He works for, what's he do?
So, actually, that's something about the event in April. But so he works for Movement Mortgage.
Right, that's right.
He runs his own team. It's called Raider Home Loans. But he just started, or he's still in the process of getting it finalized, started a charity called Gold Star, Homes for Gold Star Families.
Oh, cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, and it's mostly geared toward the special operations, the SOCOM, MARSOC and all that. But those families that lost a loved one overseas, they're trying to build them homes. So
cool.
He just started that. And one of the things he did, and part of his contract actually involves, but he is a sponsor in the event down there. So he's a little bit on the smaller side. Not to take away anything from that, because when you're a small business, a small amount is a large amount.
There's a lot of amount. Yeah, it is.
But he put forth money when another company could not come up with the money because of the way things are right now with the economy. So he offered to put a smaller amount forward, and it was still a significant amount. Definitely helped us. But in his contract, it was like, I just need one particular actor to make one comment. And so he has advertising rights through the actors, through all the... We got social media influencers and everything. They're on board with advertising this once it goes live.
Very cool. Yeah.
So he's gonna have famous people talking about Raider Home Loans.
No kidding. That's cool.
That's
man.
all he wanted. He was like, my money's worth just that one person saying one line.
Oh, that's really cool.
So,
heck yeah, man. That's good. Mark, if you're listening, you're a good dude, man. I like you.
Yeah.
Mark.
And Mark is a phenomenal person. His heart's always in the right spot. Doesn't matter. And this is a long conversation. One of the reasons I get along with him so well is on the real estate side. I refuse to do things the way that mentality, oh, this is the way it's always been done. No, fuck that. Just because that's the way it's always been done doesn't mean it's right. It may have been right at one time, but if you don't adapt to the environment.
And there's always room for improvement, too. Yeah.
I got into this because I hated the way I was treated as an active duty service member transitioning from one duty station next.
Yep.
You're given 10 days. As soon as you show up, they're like, you better take it now or you're not getting it. You know, and then they throw you out the door, and you can't close a house in 10 days. And even if you have cash in your pocket, it still takes about 15 days, right?
Yeah.
And so I came into this, I was like, and I've always kind of been that guy, even in the Marine Corps, it's like, put me over there, Master Sergeant. I'll take care of that shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll unfuck that group. I'll unfuck that situation. So traveling over the years, you buy a bunch of houses, you move around, you get fed up with this, and like all she wanted was the money out of my pocket. She didn't even care what house she put me in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody's like that. And I definitely had a jaded opinion once you get into the industry. It's kind of like as a Lance Corporal. When I'm a gunny, I'll never do that. And then you become a gunny, you're like,
I gotta
shit my dad said.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so, your eyes are kind of open up a little bit, and you're like, okay, so maybe it wasn't all malintent. Some of it definitely was. I'm not going to name the person or anything like that. He was also a Marine. But eyes are open to other things too, and you're like, yeah, these could be done better. There's a better way to treat people, a better way to do things. And some of my hate toward the real estate industry before I got into this was lack of information.
Yeah.
Communication more than anything. If I had been communicating what was going on, I wouldn't have gotten so pissed off.
Right.
And so I got
Keep
into
me
this.
in the loop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So I tell all my clients, I'm like, when we're going through this, I'm just gonna tell you everything I'm gonna do. If you don't care, and I work mostly with Marines, so it's easy. Tell them like, hey, shut up, old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've had one or two like, like, hey, that's great information.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't really understand it, so I'm just going to trust you.
Yeah.
I'm like, good, but I just want to be transparent. And they're
Which
like,
is-
yeah,
which
man,
is dope.
I trust you, man. Just take care of it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. But Mark's the same way. Like, his heart's in the right spot. He wants to do things that, like, he's like me. Like, I've told people, this is not the time for you to buy a house. Your situation is not right. And I get people looking at me, go, why would you do that? You're turning down money. I don't need the money.
No, you got to treat them right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to treat them right.
So Mark is the same way. Mark will look at somebody and be like, maybe you should wait a few weeks, maybe a month. Let's work on your credit.
Yeah.
Let's get your credit in the right spot so you.
And while this is going on, I'm looking for something for you.
Right.
Yep.
It may
Yep.
only be $25-$30 more a month, but that's $300 a year. That's $3,000 that you'll save over the course of the time that you're probably going to own this home. That's a lot of money. And
Yep.
when you start adding it up and looking at it from that standpoint, the other thing is that just to make sure that they know that, because I have a lot of knowledge. I used to run a construction company. I've been through the home inspector's course, and that was all to learn to be not the construction. Being a contractor was a whole different thing, but I brought that to the table. Somebody that knows how homes are built, knows what right looks like. You don't always know wrong, because sometimes you can't see wrong,
Yeah.
but you know what looks right. And there's times when you're looking at something and you're like, that looks a little off.
Yep.
But I did the home inspector thing, so I had a better understanding of what a home inspector does. Because who's the first person everybody cusses out
Right.
when there's a list of things that need to be fixed? And it's
Yeah.
like, no, don't get mad at him. Yes, it's a long list. It's a big list. None of it's important.
Okay.
Right.
It's all
they
hope-
have to say
Right.
everything. They have to.
And I tell them that. I go, but at the end of the day, at least you know what needs to be fixed, whether it's $2 or $100.
Right, and there's things on the reports that freak people out. Like
I know.
they'll see like a plug that's not working, and on that report they have to say have a certified electrician check this plug. When it's really just a $3 plug, just change the
Right.
plug out. You know what I mean?
And so that's important to me. And when I started in this industry, I met Mark almost immediately. We found out that we ran in some of the same circles, knew some of the same people, just had to sit down with him. And I said, look, I'm not gonna tout just anybody. I want loan officers. I want home inspectors that have the best interest of the clients on both sides. On both sides. And that's important to me. Yes, I want you to get a good deal on the house, but I also don't want you to fuck the person over that's trying to sell their
Right.
house simply
Exactly.
because they're desperate.
Right.
Now, I have my obligated duties, and I have to do that, but I will be the first person to say, you're being a greedy little bitch.
Yeah. Let's be fair.
Right.
And you know what? And I remind them, just so you're tracking, the guy that you're trying to bilk an extra $20,000 off of, he's also a Marine, and he's getting transition and moving across country also.
Yeah.
So think about that before you ask
Yeah.
for $40,000
Yeah.
off the house.
And that's the thing. In this area, we can do that.
Right.
You know, and where a lot of us are Marines or Army out here.
Right.
There's military guys, so we can be straightforward and honest like that. If you're in a different market like Charlotte,
I'd still do it. I don't care.
well,
I'd
yeah.
rather lose the business than.
but it wouldn't be respected as much as
Right.
it is here. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
But the thing is I'm
Yeah.
still transparent.
I get
And I do
that.
my job and notify them like, hey, this person. I found out this person is desperate to sell the house.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, remember, this is a Marine with a family also.
Yep.
Right. Yep. You got to
So
take care of everybody.
let's make them a fair deal that you would still get a good deal beyond what it would be if you didn't know that. But let's not screw him out.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So obviously he's more flexible. So let's come up with something reasonable.
Yeah.
So and then I do the southern.
Yeah. is that what gets them?
Yeah.
That wa-
Bless your little heart. That's a nice offer.
That's
You think I should go higher? I mean, I can't advise you to go higher.
Right. And well, the thing that people don't understand is, as realtors, we're not out there to make a buck. We're out there to do right with stuff that you just don't understand. You know,
Right.
as a seller or a buyer, there's a lot of things that can get you.
Right.
You know, and the good realtors out there, the good people that want to take care of their clients, like I say, hey, look, man, you can do this, or we can go this direction with it. You know what I mean? But your main job is to take care of that client.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have ruined that mentality of real estate because they just want to make a lot of money selling houses. well, you can do that, but you're going to screw people. You know what I mean? You got to be able to treat them right. You know what I mean? And a lot of people just don't understand that we're here for the person, if the right agent is. You
This
know
man's
what I mean?
over here destroying your table.
It's fine.
So-
This table's destroyed. I should have never rented the RV out.
So
That's what happened.
the funny thing is that being a realtor is a duality. It's a yin and a yang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're a buyer agent, you're trying to get the best deal for your client. And
Right.
when you're a seller agent, you're trying to get the best deal for them, but
Yeah.
they're entirely different thought process.
Right.
You're trying to get them a bargain, and you're trying to get more money than their house is necessarily
Right.
worth on the current
Or
market.
get as much money in their pocket
Right.
as you can.
Get as much
Yeah.
get as much out of the market as you can is probably a better way to say that.
Yep.
And ultimately, the funny thing is that every buyer is different with the same house. So you put 20 people in the same house, they'll all have 20 different ideas on the value of that home,
Mhm.
regardless of what you tell them,
Right.
and vice versa. And you do have to remember, and probably one of the I wouldn't call it a mistake, but my blunt personality. I had a Marine that I know asked me to sell his house. Walked in and like, your house is fucking ugly.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
I
you
told
can't-
him, I was like, you know that girl in school that wasn't ugly, but she wasn't pretty either, and standing amongst all the pretty girls like nobody really ever saw her.
Yeah.
That's your fucking house from the road.
Yeah.
I did. I told him.
I've had a couple of those. Yeah.
But I said it exactly like that. And
He was like,
and
oh,
Kelly.
And-
Kelly was like, you did not say that.
Did that get you the listing?
I had the listing
Oh,
already.
okay.
But no, actually, no. I said that from the get-go. I said, you have to, because I was trying to explain to them the architecture of their home was very plain compared to every other house in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they go, well, the house across the street's the same layout. And I go, yeah, but they take care of it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
yeah. Good landscaping, granite, this and that.
Right.
Yeah,
And they had a little bit of landscaping. The house wasn't a lost cause. It was just very square. In
Yeah.
a house with a bunch of cut roofs and
Yeah.
architectural overhangs and things. And theirs was square with a cut-in porch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was
that's
like,
all we needed.
and they're like, but we love this house. And I said, correct. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're marketing for.
It's-
Is somebody else that just wants a nice inside
yeah.
and doesn't care what the outside
Right.
is.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
like somebody's like,
my-
I love my truck this much. It's worth 50,000. Yeah, well, bro, it's worth 25.
That would
so.
be
It's
all
worth
of North
50,000
Carolina. They
to
think
you.
everything they own is worth the same price it was the day they bought
or
it.
all the
Yeah.
parts they didn't put on it.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
want to buy a 30-year-old boat? Sure. How much? I'm like, 30,000. I'm like, this boat was 29,000 brand new.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I put a hydraulic piston on the back, and it's got a trolley motor on the
I
front.
changed the sump pump. Oh, come
Yeah.
on, dude.
Did you change the fiberglass in the engine?
That's about and the make and the model, and let's go ahead and bump it up 30 years on the manufacture date. We'll be
Now,
all
when
right.
when it comes to motorcycles, every time I see a price, and it like, you look at the price, and you're like, that hurts my soul. They're trying to sell a bike that old for that much.
Yeah.
And you're like, I bet it's a Marine. So I pick up the phone and be like, hi, I'm interested in your bike. I'm like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, and you can tell, right? And you're like, you a Marine? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a Marine. Are you a Marine? I was like, yeah, I'm retired now. You know, and I'm like, so what makes you think your bike is worth $17,000? I got the same one, and I wouldn't sell it for $8,000.
It's like a Mustang out here, you know. It's just like,
What makes you think your bike? That's the only reason I called you, by the way.
I'm here to mentor you, devil. Facebook mentoring.
I really don't want this thing. But,
Let me tell you something, son.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's got
JG.
loud punk speakers in it.
right, brother. Thank you for coming down. I appreciate you. You're awesome, man. We're definitely gonna have you back before your thing you got coming on in Wilmington, and definitely want to talk more about that, brother. Thank you so much for coming down. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
JT.
Thanks for having me.
All
All right,
right.
Take
Bye,
care.
guys.